I think we could say that doing what one enjoys at least entails getting I don't know, some sort of positive biochemical response to some action,
But
you
like,
know.
see, but
And
okay, so that's so abstract as is. Like, what is something that people enjoy? Like
Mass murder.
well, yeah, it's like shit, like mass
killing
murder,
enemies.
masturbation. Like we're awful things. Like I don't think that doing what people do what makes you what you enjoy to do is an appropriate like
I agree
generality
that
or abstract way to look at life in the first place.
I agree. It's not a it's a very shallow principle to follow, but I think it can be a reasonable place to start. And you can use other terms um, to accompany it, like do something that gives you a sense of purpose or something. You know,
But see, like
yes, that's very general, but it's it at least narrows the set of things that you could be referring to.
I think like if you want to be happy, if we're gonna try to break down how to find happiness into just a simple formula, not just like go do whatever makes you happy, because I think that that's too broad and it's ridiculous. I think you should just like look for moments and opportunities that make you breathe deep, because I think, well, it's
Killing my enemies.
yeah, well, sure, if that's, I guess, but most people, it's a lot simpler. Those things that, and you might not notice it until you actually start queuing into it. But like, it's stuff like that you can actually start to notice in your life that's actually concrete, rather than just like do what makes you happy. I don't know.
I fail to see the difference. Everyone's more visceral than the other.
Well, that's the whole point, right? We're trying to break these things down into things you can touch and feel, right? I can't feel meaning. I don't know what the fuck meaning is. I haven't found meaning in my life in 26 years. Who knows what the fuck meaning even means? I don't know what that concept is. But I have had a collection of moments over my life that I've kind of just collected myself and kind of had to take this deep breath. And that's how I've been able to describe it. And that even is like an abstract concept in itself. Because,
well, you enjoy taking deep breaths.
But it's yeah. But it is something more visceral, right? Like fuck,
Sure.
do things that make you feel warm and fuzzy, I guess. But like, because you can't just do what makes you happy, because I think those, even starting from that place is too abstract.
I mean, if you define happiness as the biochemical, the positive biochemical response from actions, then they're kind of the same thing.
But then it's too shallow, right? Because biochemical happiness just leads us to literally a big fuck show.
Let's see. Biochemical happiness technically leads you to cocaine every time.
If we chase biochemical happiness,
cocaine gives you the highest biochemical happiness out of anything in the world.
It's not just mass orgies at noon.
Nope, it's cocaine. Cocaine will give you the highest biochemical response.
Huh.
Which is why when you take cocaine, which is how the addiction happens, is because you take cocaine and then you get this huge biochemical response, and then the only way
the most happy you've ever been.
The only way to get that response again is if you do more cocaine.
So really, what you're saying by do what makes you happy is you're saying do cocaine. Like you could literally interpret it as do cocaine. And I guess on some level, me saying breathe deeply every now and then is also leaving the door open for take cocaine, because you have to breathe deeply to snort the coke. So this is the problem, right? You have to be really precise with like these abstract concepts of like happiness. Okay, you have to define what happiness is.
You can use these abstract concepts. I mean, you can combine them in many different ways and narrow in and.
But I feel like a lot of people
some
yeah. I feel like a lot of people use them like weaponized versions of them, though, right?
Weaponized.
They weaponize. Yeah, they weaponize.
I haven't heard that word in a long time.
Yeah, they weaponize their words a lot.
Weaponize happiness.
That's a 13-episode throwback.
Weapon. Yeah, that's what I think.
like for the one thing I found interesting about your idea of talking about this deep breath moment, and
is that clear? Do you guys have you ever had those? Do you think people have those?
I understand.
Like when you're born, you take a deep breath. It's that kind of.
It was
moment.
great. I remember.
Yet no one does. If you do, that would be crazy.
Sorry,
go on.
I think that is a very interesting way to put it, mainly because what I was going to say is, can you find happiness by doing an action plan type thing? So usually when I'm just because when I'm talking to people, right? Usually I say when I first meet them or I really actually want to get to know them, my first thing is, what do you want to do? What is the one thing that drives you that you really want to do? Cool. And usually they tell me, and my response is, okay, how do we get you there? Like, to me, initially, that is my favorite way to get to know someone. And I love the idea of finding what someone else wants to do and then trying your best to build them up to get where they want to be. And then subsequently, hopefully they do the same thing for you. And nice. That answer, you would assume, like most people, like even me, until Gunnar said his thing, is you would assume that would get you to the place of being happy, or at least get you to a place of realizing get you closer in some capacity. Like you might realize you get there and then it's not what you find happy and you have to change your plan. Okay, that kind of sucks, but at least you got there in the first place and that doubt's no longer there. What I find very interesting about the idea of just saying the what makes you breathe moment and kind of made me realize that it is almost intangible to even describe how to properly get someone anywhere near where they would find enjoyment, is because, like, I was thinking, what is my breath moment? And my breath moment is usually just nobody talk to me. I'm going to go on a hike. I mean, you can come with me on the hike. Just don't talk to me the entire hike. Just dead silence. You can bring people that you want to bring, and you guys can talk. Just don't interact with me. But I just want to go for a hike, like in my own world, and I just want to look at Earth, essentially. And I'll take some pictures and stuff like that, and try to be artsy and etc. But my main personal enjoyment is just, I just want to experience Earth, and that is such a weird thing that I don't think anyone could ever really push me to that realization or push me to understanding that, because, like, for me, it's where most people would push me is the idea of, well, you should go on vacations and see new locations and do all this stuff. And I'm like, well, true. And while that is the expensive but easy way to do that, it really, I just need to go on a hike that I haven't been before to see some things I haven't seen before. And through my life, if I can see other biomes, that would be pretty dope. But I don't need that. But that, like, if anyone was really talking to me, that's probably the idea they would get. They were like, you need to go travel to see all these different things. Well, fundamentally, I just need to see anything.
Yeah, and I think what you need really is to just not stop doing things, because eventually you're just going to fall onto and stumble upon something that is going to give you that moment.
And you've done the work to figure out more precisely what you want to do.
No, Gunnar figured it out. He just figured it out right now. Like, I've actually never legitimately never thought of it that way until, like, that moment. So no, I did not figure it out.
Well, I'll put it another way. Like, I guess you know yourself well enough to know that it's not traveling and seeing stuff that you need necessarily. It's something more precise, going out on hikes, not talking and taking artsy pictures.
Yeah, and then my other, and then now that the other one for me is I guess human experience, where and by that I just mean
I'll get that human experience as opposed to that robot one.
I can't have that
non-humans,
that AI experience.
Dog
VR experience. I can't do that either.
Furries, animal
chinchilla experience. But no, like the one thing that I found that is really irritating and kind of maybe irritating is not the right word, but it kind of just like ruins the experience for me. Is I find that now I'm going to sound like an old person right now. Like a lot of people don't genuinely give someone else their time to understand or even learn about the other person. So like, yeah, like, okay, take me on this hike, and don't talk to me. I'm on this hike, but if you want to go to a coffee shop later and just tell me about your life experiences, let's go do that. And I find that not a lot of people do that. They do the whole, at least at work anyway, you know, walk down one hallway, they're walking down the other hallway, you're going in different directions. They say, hey, how you doing? And you say good, and they say how, and then you say, how are you doing? And they say good, and you keep on. And at no point did you stop your stride of walking.
Yeah.
It's the most meaningless,
I hate doing that.
possibly North American interaction ever. Okay, so
It's all North American.
Here's a fun thing.
You can't do that anywhere else.
Here's a what was my new, there's something new I've been saying the last 2 weeks, because I like messing with people, because I hate that interaction so much. And for the longest time, it was actually rude of me, because people would ask me, how are you doing? And I would say good and keep on walking. I would even ask them, because I know because it doesn't even, this interaction doesn't even matter.
Yeah, you could say whatever the fuck you want.
Like
gobbledygook.
Like and
they'd be like, okay.
But gobbledygook might be more offensive than silence.
It'd totally be offensive.
And it just never crosses my mind to really ask someone how they're doing, because I'm like, do you really you're not even like, if you stop in a hallway and ask me that question, I will answer that question. We'll have a conversation. A lot of my undergrads do that. They'll like physically stop and then say, hello, Tyler, how are you doing? And then I'll go, I am doing great. This is what I've done recently. What did you do? And then you have a conversation.
Yeah.
But for people who just do the walk and talk thing, my favorite thing is either give them a really weird compliment, like just so abstract, in terms of like
abstract compliments,
but doing it before they even interact with you. So it's like,
it's a beautiful shirt.
Like today, it was like -20 outside, and so someone's going out like bundling up. They have their scarf on, their jacket, and you just say, "Hey, braving the weather outside." Like just like that is a more thoughtful interaction than, "Hey, how are you doing?"
Yeah.
But my ultimate favorite one, which flusters everyone because no one's ever heard this response before, is they say, "How you doing?" And you say, "I'm doing good. I hope you also are swell." And their answer, and it's a really nice thing, but they expect you that you said good.
Yeah,
how are you too? So they always say you too, and I'm always like, that doesn't really answer, like, you no. And they get really flustered, and it's really awkward conversation. They're like, wait, what did I just say?
Well, that's exactly like when you when the server says enjoy your meal, and you're like, oh, you too. Like that's the same exact fucking
Happy
like,
birthday.
God damn it, I'm a fucking retard. Yeah.
Happy birthday, you too.
Yeah, no, that's literally the exact same thing. No, it's
my
happy birthday. Thanks, you too.
It's my little rebellious way to hopefully make people more cognizant of how meaningless that interaction is.
Drive safe. You too. I do that all the time when I'm leaving people's places. You too. When they tell me, say, drive safe. Oh, it's so dumb.
I can definitely appreciate your decision to try to make people more aware, but I do I do like that interaction more than silence. You know.
I realize I'm like, everyone thinks I'm an asshole. So I have to think of something to do.
What if you just do deadpan silence, though? Just like, oh, how you doing? Just nothing. Just not
it
even
only
like
works when you have
like
headphones in.
Don't even stare at them. Just straight ahead.
I'm gonna have to think of a way to mess with you, Tyler, next time we're in person, walking past each other.
So yeah, I just wish people. I don't remember why we're talking about the human interaction, but I'm just like, yeah, I love the breath moments and enjoying the earth, and I wish people had more human interaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to say that's one of the things I really really appreciate about human experience.
And you know what
Particularly
isn't human
conversation.
Sorry, Teo, I had to cut you off. You know what isn't human experience?
I love
That's the
conversation.
I love conversation. Fuck you, Teo. We're talking about this now.
You know what isn't human experience? And I just have to throw this out there. What isn't
Go on.
what isn't the human experience is work is not the human experience.
Depends on the work.
Yeah, I agree because I've gotten those deep breath moments at work all the time and
Really? Where?
Yeah.
What were you doing?
Man, teaching at lecture. Okay, this is how I look at it. I'll just be sitting in the last one I had was when I was like in December or something. It was like my last lecture for my seminar class. And everyone was just kind of like listening to this speaker, and I just like stopped and looked at everyone, and I had this realization that like this is one of the last times that I'll ever be in a lecture, and like, you know, life keeps going. I'll never be in school again. And I was just, instead of being like really anxious about it, I was just so happy and just glad to be there and in the moment and stuff like that. So you do get those moments. Like I was teaching last semester before that, and I had a similar experience. I was just watching all of the kids, as I call them. They're like 20-year-old people. I was watching the kids do their little lab assignments, and I just like had this moment like, I'll probably never do this again, and I won't be doing this for much longer. And it was just kind of like really nice and like I felt happy, and I took like that deep breath that you aren't thinking about your breath, but you're kind of just like, you know. So I do get those moments at work.
I guess maybe my like when I'm working, I'm too caught up in the being a cog in the wheel of $1 billion machine that doesn't appreciate its clients. So like for me, I sit there and I'm just I like, so for me, when I personally look at students for the most part, is you realize how hoodwinked every one of them is.
Yeah.